The heavy wooden doors of the courtroom closed with a definitive thud. Marcus Chen stood at the defendant's table, his tailored suit doing little to mask the tension radiating from his shoulders. Across from him, Jasmine Rodriguez clutched a folder containing photographs of a smiling 3-year-old girl with curly hair and bright eyes. The judge, an older woman with silver hair and sharp features, adjusted her glasses and reviewed the documents before her. The silence in the room was broken only by the soft whir of the ceiling fan and the occasional cough from the gallery. Good afternoon. We're here today for the matter of Rodriguez versus Chen regarding paternity of the minor child, Sofia Rodriguez. Mr. Chen, you filed this petition claiming you are not the biological father of 3-year-old Sofia. Is that correct? Marcus cleared his throat, his voice steady but strained. That's correct, Your Honor. I've been raising Sofia for 3 years, believing she was my daughter. But recent circumstances have led me to question whether Miss Rodriguez has been truthful with me about Sofia's paternity. Jasmine's jaw tightened, her knuckles white as she gripped the table edge. Your Honor, Marcus knows he's Sofia's father. He's been there since day one. He cut the umbilical cord. He was the first person to hold her. He chose her name. And now, just because his family is pressuring him about our relationship status, he wants to abandon his daughter. The judge raised her hand, silencing both parties. Let's start from the beginning. Mr. Chen, tell me how you and Miss Rodriguez met and the nature of your relationship. Marcus shifted his weight, glancing briefly at Jasmine before addressing the judge. We met 4 years ago at a medical conference. I'm a pharmaceutical sales representative, and Jasmine was working as a nursing coordinator at County General Hospital. We started talking during a networking event, and there was an immediate connection. We started seeing each other casually at first. Casually, Jasmine interrupted, her voice rising. Marcus, we were together every weekend for 6 months before we made it official. You met my parents. I met your mother. There was nothing casual about it. Miss Rodriguez, you'll have your opportunity to speak. Continue, Mr. Chen. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. What I mean is, we weren't exclusive right away. We were both seeing other people initially. That was understood between us, or at least I thought it was. When Jasmine told me she was pregnant about 8 months into our relationship, I was surprised, but I stepped up. I thought we were solid by then. I supported her through the entire pregnancy, went to every doctor's appointment, took Lamaze classes. When Sofia was born, I was overwhelmed with love for her. I signed the birth certificate without hesitation. So, what changed, Mr. Chen? What has caused you to question Sofia's paternity after 3 years? Marcus pulled out his phone, scrolling through it before handing it to the bailiff to show the judge. 3 months ago, I received an anonymous message on social media. It contained this photograph. The image shows Jasmine with another man at what appears to be a restaurant, and they're clearly intimate, holding hands across the table. The metadata shows this was taken 4 years ago, right around the time Sofia would have been conceived. The judge examined the photo carefully. Miss Rodriguez, do you recognize this photograph? Jasmine's cheeks flushed. Yes, Your Honor. That's my ex-boyfriend, Trevor Marks. We dated for 2 years before I met Marcus, but we had broken up months before that photo was taken. That was just a closure dinner. We were trying to end things amicably. A closure dinner where you're holding hands? Jasmine's eyes flashed with anger. It was complicated, Your Honor. Trevor and I had history. We were high school sweethearts. Breaking up wasn't clean or simple, but I was never intimate with him after Marcus and I became serious. Sofia is Marcus's daughter. The judge leaned back in her chair. Mr. Chen, was this photograph the only reason for your doubt? Marcus hesitated, exchanging glances with his attorney before responding. No, Your Honor. After I received that photo, I started asking questions. I discovered that Jasmine had continued communicating with Trevor throughout her pregnancy and even after Sofia was born. She never mentioned him to me, not once in 4 years. When I confronted her about the messages, she became defensive and evasive. That's when my doubts really solidified. Because I knew you'd react exactly like this. Jasmine's voice cracked with emotion. Trevor reached out to congratulate me on the pregnancy because his sister told him. We exchanged maybe a dozen messages over 3 years. Surface-level stuff about how parenthood was going. Career updates. Nothing inappropriate. I didn't tell you because I knew how jealous you get, Marcus. Remember when we went to that hospital fundraiser and you barely spoke to me for 3 days because I danced with a male colleague? The judge held up her hand again. Let's focus on the relevant facts. Mr. Chen, have you been acting as Sophia's father during these 3 years? Marcus's expression softened slightly. Yes, Your Honor. I've been very involved. I wake up with her most mornings. I take her to daycare. I coach her toddler soccer team. She calls me Daddy. His voice wavered slightly. That's actually what makes this so painful. If Sophia isn't biologically mine, I've been living a lie for 3 years. And if she is mine, then I need to address the trust issues in my relationship with Jasmine before we can move forward. So this is also about your relationship with Miss Rodriguez, not just Sophia's paternity? Marcus nodded slowly. Your Honor, Jasmine and I have been engaged for 2 years. We've been living together for 3 years. But we keep postponing the wedding. My family has concerns about whether Jasmine has been faithful, whether she's with me for the right reasons. I come from a family with significant financial resources, and when these doubts started surfacing, my mother hired a private investigator. You hired an investigator? Jasmine looked stricken. Marcus, how could you? It wasn't me. It was my mother. But yes, I reviewed the findings. The investigator discovered that Trevor Marks lives only 15 minutes from our house. He works at the same hospital system where you work, Jasmine, just a different location. And according to phone records, you've spoken to him as recently as 6 weeks ago. Because his father died. Jasmine's eyes filled with tears. Trevor's dad passed away from cancer. I went to the funeral to pay my respects. We talked for maybe 10 minutes. His father was like family to me during high school. Was I supposed to ignore his death because you and your mother have trust issues? The courtroom fell silent, except for Jasmine's soft crying. The judge poured herself a glass of water, taking a moment before speaking. Miss Rodriguez, I understand you're emotional, but I need you to answer some questions directly. During the time period when Sophia was conceived, were you sexually active with anyone other than Mr. Chen? Jasmine wiped her eyes, her voice barely above a whisper. Trevor and I did see each other a few times after I started dating Marcus, but it was only during the first 3 months before Marcus and I became exclusive. Once we decided to be in a committed relationship, I never touched Trevor again. I never slept with anyone else after that commitment. But you can't be certain about the exact timing of conception, can you? The judge pressed gently. No, Your Honor. My cycle has always been irregular. When I found out I was pregnant, I was about 10 weeks along. The doctors gave me an estimated conception date, but it could have been plus or minus 2 weeks. Based on that timeline, and when Marcus and I became exclusive, there's a possibility, a small one, that the timing could overlap with the last time I was with Trevor. The revelation hung in the air like smoke. Marcus's face had gone pale, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. You told me there was no possibility of anyone else being the father. You looked me in the eyes, Jasmine, when I asked you directly, and you said I was the only one. Because I believed that, Marcus. The timeline made sense. We were together constantly. You were the obvious father. Why would I have thought otherwise? Because you knew the truth about your timeline with Trevor, and you chose to hide it. I didn't hide it. I just didn't think it was relevant. Jasmine's voice grew stronger, defensive. You want to talk about honesty? Let's talk about how you were still on dating apps 6 months into our relationship. Let's talk about how I found messages from your ex-girlfriend on your phone a year ago. Let's talk about how you told me you wanted to marry me, but your mother still has veto power over your life decisions at age 35. Marcus's face reddened. Those situations were completely different. I never lied to you about any of that. When you found those messages, I admitted I'd been talking to Christina, and I cut off contact immediately because you asked me to. I've been transparent with you. Transparent? You had your mother hire a private investigator to follow me around, Marcus. You went through phone records without my permission. You've made me feel like a criminal in my own relationship for months now, questioning where I am, who I'm talking to, why I'm coming home 15 minutes later than usual. That's not transparency, that's surveillance. The judge cleared her throat loudly. Both of you need to take a breath. This courtroom is not the place for couples therapy. We're here to establish paternity, not to relitigate every grievance in your relationship. However, I can see that these issues are deeply intertwined. She turned to Marcus directly. Mr. Chen, assuming hypothetically that you are Sophia's biological father, what is your intention regarding custody and your relationship with the child? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Your Honor, I love Sophia with everything I have. If she's mine, I want full joint custody. I want to be her father in every sense of the word. But I also need to know the truth before I can make any decisions about marrying Jasmine. My family is urging me to protect myself legally and financially if this relationship isn't built on honesty. And if Sophia is not biologically yours? Another long pause. Then I need to understand what my legal rights and obligations are. I've been her father for 3 years. I don't want to just disappear from her life. But I also don't know if I can continue in a relationship with Jasmine if I discover she's been lying to me about something this fundamental. The judge turned to Jasmine. Miss Rodriguez, you've maintained that Mr. Chen is Sophia's father. But given what you've now revealed about the timeline, are you certain? And if there's any doubt, have you considered contacting Trevor Marks about this possibility? Jasmine's hands trembled as she clutched a tissue. Your Honor, I haven't contacted Trevor because I didn't think it was necessary. Sophia looks like Marcus's family. She has his eyes, his smile. Everyone says she's a perfect blend of both of us. I've never had reason to doubt. But now, with Marcus questioning everything, second-guessing every aspect of our relationship, I don't know what to think anymore. Has Mr. Marks ever met Sophia? No, Your Honor. He doesn't even know she exists. Not really. He might have heard through mutual friends that I had a baby, but we've never discussed it directly. When we spoke at his father's funeral, Sophia never came up. The judge made several notes before looking up. I've reviewed the court-ordered DNA test results that were submitted to this court last week. Before I reveal these results, I want to ask both of you, what outcome are you hoping for today? Marcus spoke first, his voice thick with emotion. Your Honor, I'm hoping that Sophia is mine. Despite everything, despite all the doubt and confusion and pain of the last few months, I want her to be my daughter. I want to have that biological connection confirmed. But I also need the truth, whatever it is, so we can all move forward. Jasmine nodded, tears streaming down her face. I'm hoping for the same thing. I want Marcus to know without any doubt that Sophia is his daughter. I want to prove to him, to his family, to everyone that I've been telling the truth. I want us to finally get past this and actually build the family we've been talking about for years. Sophia deserves parents who are committed to each other, not just to her. The judge removed her glasses, cleaning them slowly as she considered her words. I've been presiding over cases like this for over 20 years. What I've learned is that DNA results, while scientifically definitive, are only part of the story. The real question isn't just who contributed genetic material to create a child. The real question is who shows up every day to raise that child, who makes sacrifices, who provides love and security. She put her glasses back on and opened the envelope containing the test results. However, biological truth matters too, especially in cases involving legal rights, medical history, and family identity. According to the DNA analysis performed by Certigene Laboratories, the probability of paternity is evaluated using 16 genetic markers. The courtroom was completely silent. Jasmine had stopped crying, her entire body rigid with anticipation. Marcus stared at the judge, not blinking. In the matter of Rodriguez versus Chen, regarding the paternity of Sophia Marie Rodriguez, the DNA test results indicate that Marcus Chen is excluded as the biological father. The probability of paternity is 0%. Mr. Chen, you are not Sophia's biological father. The words seemed to suck all the oxygen from the room. Jasmine let out a sound somewhere between a gasp and a sob, her hand flying to her mouth. Marcus stood frozen, his face cycling through emotions too quickly to name: shock, pain, anger, grief. No. Jasmine shook her head violently. No, that's not possible. There has to be a mistake. Those tests are wrong sometimes, right? They mix up samples. This can't be right. The judge's voice was gentle but firm. Miss Rodriguez, these tests are 99.9% accurate. The laboratory has confirmed their findings. I know this isn't the result you were hoping for. Marcus finally moved, turning to face Jasmine with an expression of profound betrayal. You said you were certain. You looked me in the eyes for 3 years and swore I was her father. You let me love that child, raise her, plan my entire future around her. I thought you were. Jasmine's voice was anguished. Marcus, I swear to you, I believed it. The timeline made sense. You and I were together all the time. I never thought. But you knew there was a possibility. You admitted it yourself just now. You knew Trevor could potentially be the father, and you never told me. You let me sign that birth certificate. You let me introduce Sophia as my daughter to my entire family. Do you have any idea what this feels like? What it feels like? Jasmine's shock was giving way to anger. You want to talk about feelings, Marcus? How do you think I feel right now? I just found out that the man I thought was my daughter's father, the man I've been planning to marry, isn't biologically related to her. My entire reality just shifted. But instead of thinking about what this means for Sophia, you're making this about your ego and your feelings of betrayal. This is about betrayal, Jasmine. You lied to me. I didn't lie. I was wrong. There's a difference. I made a mistake based on the information I had. I'm not some scheming villain who trapped you into raising another man's child. I genuinely believed you were Sophia's father. The judge intervened again, her voice sharp. Both of you need to lower your voices, and remember you're in a courtroom. Miss Rodriguez, given these results, what is your plan regarding Mr. Marks? Does he need to be notified? Jasmine looked lost, her anger deflating into confusion. I don't know, Your Honor. I haven't spoken to Trevor in weeks. I don't even know how to tell him that he might have a 3-year-old daughter he never knew about. This is a nightmare. It's about to be his nightmare too, whether he wants it or not. Marcus's voice was bitter. At least he has a choice about whether to step up. I've already invested 3 years of my life into being a father. The judge studied Marcus carefully. Mr. Chen, let me ask you a direct question. Setting aside the betrayal and the hurt feelings, do you love Sophia? Marcus's composure finally cracked. Yes. His voice broke. Yes, I love her more than anything. She's the best part of my day. Every single day. She runs to the door when I come home from work screaming, "Daddy's home!" She asks me to read her the same 3 books every night before bed. She has this laugh that sounds like music. Of course I love her. And does Sophia know you as her father? She's 3 years old. I'm the only father she's ever known. The judge nodded slowly. Then here's what I'm ordering. First, Miss Rodriguez, you need to contact Trevor Marks immediately and inform him of this situation. He has a right to know he has a biological child, and he has potential legal obligations as well. Second, while we sort out the biological father's involvement, Mr. Chen, you will maintain a relationship with Sophia. You've been her psychological parent for 3 years, and abruptly removing you from her life would be traumatic for her. Marcus looked up sharply. Your Honor, are you saying I have to continue being her father even though she's not mine? I'm saying you need to consider what's best for Sophia, not just what's comfortable or fair for you. You've raised this child as your own. You've formed a bond. She depends on you. Whether or not you share DNA doesn't erase 3 years of daily parenting. Now, we'll need to revisit custody and visitation arrangements once Mr. Marks is brought into this situation and his wishes are known. But for now, Sophia needs stability and consistency. What about child support? Marcus asked. Am I legally obligated to support a child who isn't mine? That will depend on several factors, including state law and whether you're determined to be a presumed father based on your role in her life. We'll address financial obligations in a subsequent hearing once all parties are present. The judge turned to Jasmine. Miss Rodriguez, I'm ordering you to contact Mr. Marks within 72 hours. You will inform him of Sophia's existence and these paternity test results. Mr. Marks will then have the opportunity to request his own paternity test if he wishes. I'm also ordering both you and Mr. Chen to attend family counseling sessions to work through how you'll co-parent Sophia during this transition, regardless of the eventual custody arrangement. Your Honor, what if Trevor doesn't want to be involved? Jasmine asked quietly. What if he wants nothing to do with Sophia? Then we'll deal with that scenario when it arises. But he deserves the opportunity to know his child, and make that decision for himself. You denied him that opportunity for 3 years, whether intentionally or not. Jasmine nodded numbly. Marcus stood rigidly, staring at the floor. I know this is not the outcome either of you wanted. The judge's voice softened. This situation is painful and complicated, and there are no easy answers. But there's a little girl at the center of this who didn't ask for any of this confusion. Whatever anger or hurt you two feel toward each other, Sophia needs both of you to be adults and put her needs first. She needs stability, love, and consistent care. Can you both commit to providing that for her while we sort out the legal details? Marcus's voice was barely audible. I'll do whatever Sophia needs, but Your Honor, I need to know, what are my rights if I want to maintain a relationship with her? If Trevor comes in and wants full custody, can he just take her away from me? That will be determined based on many factors. What's in Sophia's best interest? The existing bond between you two, Trevor's fitness as a parent, and various legal precedents regarding psychological parents. The law recognizes that biology isn't the only factor in determining parenthood. You may have rights as a de facto parent or presumed father, depending on your state's laws. But there are no guarantees? No, Mr. Chen, there are no guarantees. That's the risk you face when you've been acting as a parent to a child who isn't biologically yours. The court will always prioritize the child's best interests, but biological parents generally have superior rights unless they're proven unfit. Marcus absorbed this, his jaw working. So I could lose her completely. Or you could remain an important part of her life. That's largely going to depend on the choices all 3 adults in this situation make going forward. Jasmine spoke up, her voice steadier now. Your Honor, regardless of what happens with Trevor, I want Marcus to remain in Sophia's life if he wants to be. He's been an amazing father to her. She loves him. I don't want this situation to destroy their relationship. That's easy to say now, Marcus shot back. But what happens when Trevor gets involved and wants his daughter? What happens when you start a new relationship and that man doesn't want your ex-fiancée around? What happens when it becomes inconvenient for you to coordinate my time with Sophia? Then we'll establish a formal custody agreement that protects your relationship with her. Jasmine met his eyes. Marcus, I know you hate me right now. I know you feel like I've destroyed everything. Maybe I have. But whatever happens between us, Sophia needs you. I'm not going to try to cut you out of her life. The judge made final notes in her file. This court will reconvene in 30 days. By that time, I expect Mr. Marks to have been notified and, if necessary, paternity testing to be completed with him as well. I also expect both Mr. Chen and Miss Rodriguez to have attended at least 2 counseling sessions together to develop a co-parenting plan. In the meantime, Sophia will remain in Miss Rodriguez's primary custody, with Mr. Chen maintaining his current visitation schedule. She looked at both of them seriously. I want to leave you both with this thought. The worst outcome here isn't the DNA results. The worst outcome would be for Sophia to lose the only father she's ever known because the adults in her life couldn't manage their emotions and work together. Children don't understand genetics or betrayal or complicated adult relationships. They understand who shows up for them, who loves them, who makes them feel safe. Don't let your pain rob that child of her security. This court is adjourned. The gavel struck once, the sharp sound echoing through the quiet courtroom. Marcus gathered his papers slowly, methodically, his movements mechanical. Jasmine remained seated, staring at her hands. As Marcus reached the courtroom doors, he paused and turned back. For what it's worth, I do believe you thought I was her father. I believe that wasn't malicious. But Jasmine, you should have told me there was even a possibility of someone else. You took that choice away from me. You let me fall in love with a child who might not be mine without giving me all the information. That's what I can't forgive. And what was I supposed to do, Marcus? Tell you on our 5th date that there was a tiny, remote possibility that my ex-boyfriend could theoretically be the father based on some fuzzy timeline? Would you have stayed? Would you have given us a chance? I don't know, but I deserve the opportunity to make that choice. Just like Trevor deserves the opportunity to make his choice now. He pushed through the doors without waiting for a response, leaving Jasmine alone in the courtroom with the judge's words echoing around her. Don't let your pain rob that child of her security. Outside the courthouse, Marcus sat on a bench in the autumn sunshine, his head in his hands. His phone buzzed with a text from his mother. Well, what happened? He couldn't bring himself to reply. How do you explain that your entire life has just been revealed as a fiction? That the child you tucked into bed last night, the child who hugged you and said, "I love you, Daddy," this morning, isn't actually yours? His phone buzzed again, this time with a different message. It was a photo from Jasmine, Sophia, in her daycare class, wearing a princess costume, her face lit up with joy. The accompanying text read, "She made this for you in art class today. She wanted me to make sure you got it before bedtime." Marcus opened the attached image of a crayon drawing, stick figures holding hands under a smiling sun. The words, "I love Dada," scrawled across the top in wobbly letters. He sat there on that bench for a long time, staring at that drawing, and cried.